How are we? That may have broken someone's eardrums. I do apologize. How are we? Hello. Good evening. I'm sorry. I'm 5 minutes late once again. Rushing around. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you all for joining. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm sorry I'm late. Guesses in the chat about... sorry, I apologize to anyone's ears. How are we? Nice to see you all. If anyone wants to guess in the chat why I was 3 minutes late, it won't take you many guesses to guess why I was 5 minutes late, although it actually will. I bet none of you guessed why I was late. I am sure none of you will guess why I was late today, because I was doing two things that I should have done. We'll do those in just a moment. Let's say hello to some of you in the chat. Thank you all very much for joining. It is game week 25, the week before the double. And yeah, nice to see you all here. Who have we got in? Let's say hello. Hello to Daddy Diaries. Hello to Omir. Thank you for joining as new members. Hello to Ian. Hello to Leonardo. Hello to Varon. Hello to Boston Mike. Hello to Immortal, Dylan, Marco, Gavo, Varon, Ozspike, Aviation, even. Hello to all the members in and moderators in this afternoon and this evening. Thank you all, especially for your support. Saksham, thank you as well. And to everyone else, good evening, good afternoon to you all. Hello to Lewis. Hello to Arox. Hello to Galactica, Jay, Shawan, Chada, Jorgen, Noel, Stephen, Ruben, FPL Doctor, Omej, Nico, Mars, Finley, Zach, Stoy, Peter, Andy, Wolverine, Sanjay. Hello to Lids. Hello to Noel. Hello to Freddy Boy. Hello to Peter, Kirk, Mr. Roberts Gaming, Garp, Lord Bentner, what a player he was, Reese, Lingers, Ethan, Rainbringer, and Alan. Hello to you all. Good afternoon and good evening to you all. So we're going to cover lots of things. The first thing is why I was late. I do apologize. I was getting my glass of water. I also realized it's a Friday evening deadline and we have this like fold away bath because we live in a flat, right? And so we have a bath that folds away because we can't have a real bath, but we have one because Holly likes a bath and occasionally I do. Anyway, on a Friday evening, she often has one, and I realized that I'm going to be streaming and it's quite like fiddly to put together. So I was trying to put that up in those couple of minutes whilst also making my cup of tea, but I'm not having a cup of tea today. I've got a hot chocolate instead, one of those low calorie options hot chocolates, which is full of sweetener and stuff that I probably shouldn't drink, but it is low in calories. So yes. The quotes from Pep Guardiola saying he doesn't say that he might not start tomorrow unless I've not seen the full quote. He's basically asked if there's a chance and he just says he's the best striker in the world. Unless there's more quotes on it than that, basically. Unless there's more quotes that I haven't seen. I just think he says he's the best striker in the world when asked if he's not going to start tomorrow. Unless there's more quotes, which I don't think means he doesn't start. I think Haaland starts. If you've got him, I think you've just got to keep him. Yeah. That's basically where I'm at. A couple of other things. Timber, Arteta said that he is fine. Basically, he said that they don't think there's anything there. He's fine, basically. So he doesn't know if Haaland starts, but he's going to add a little bit of doubt, isn't it? I think we all expect Haaland to start. I did say in my video today that the percentage chance of him starting has dropped this week, maybe from 99% to about 90%. And I know Planet FPL also said that there is a chance he doesn't start, but it would more be a one-game thing rather than going forward. So we've just got to keep him. No one's really going to be selling him, I don't think. I expect Haaland to start. I don't expect much to come of it anyway. So, yeah. Those of you looking at Collins, there were quotes on Collins today that basically said he didn't start last week because he had to have stitches in his foot. And yeah, so we are expecting him to come back in for this game. So if you've got Collins, Timber is fine. So positive updates on pretty much everyone. Ollie Watkins is also expected to be back. So lots of positive updates for a lot of the players. If you were Pep looking at Marmoush's performance in the last game and Haaland's lack of form, who would I start this weekend? I would start them together is what I would do. Nice white chocolate, hot chocolate to go with the stream. But my reheatable mug is not reheating. It is broken. Doesn't reheat anymore. So it's just now a normal mug. So unfortunately for me. Thoughts on James Hill at 3.9 million? One of the best cheap options in the game at the moment. Really like James Hill. There's no reason I think you should buy Senesi now. Hill does very similar stuff and at a much cheaper price. So Hill, probably the best sub 4.5 million defender if you need to play them every week. Start Thiago or Wilson, Anderson or Tarkowski. I'd play Anderson over Tarkowski and I'd play Wilson over Thiago. That's probably where I'm at. So let's take a look. So my transfer on Wednesday evening, I sold Saka and bought Mbermo. I didn't do the Dorgu transfer last night, so I am now priced out of the Dorgu transfer. I can't do Dorgu to Timber anymore, but it actually doesn't matter, really, who I do the transfer with, because if I do Dorgu to Timber, I probably bench Tarkowski this week anyway. It's between Tarkowski and Thiago for that final starting spot in my team. So if I was to do Dorgu to Timber, I probably bench Tarkowski and play it like this anyway. So Tarkowski doesn't start. Then next week, Tarkowski also doesn't start because I'd play Gabriel, I'd play Timber, and I'd play Richards with his home fixture against Burnley. So, and then in the week after, I probably have to sell Tarkowski to afford Wirtz in place of Rice anyway. So if I sell Dorgu to Timber, I basically don't play Tarkowski ever again until I then sell him in a few weeks. So I may as well sell Tarkowski to Timber if that's the transfer that I want to do. But the other transfer is Verbruggen to David Raya. Now, I get that Raya is a better pick than... Sorry, Raya is a worse pick than Timber, but it's the combination in my team, right? Do I think that I would rather Raya and Tarkowski or Verbruggen and Timber? Now, for this specific week alone, I think I would rather have Verbruggen Timber. But going into next week, then Verbruggen's got he's got Villa away next week, and I just have to play him in now, which I don't like. So then again, is it better next week with Timber with the double? Tarkowski's got Bournemouth at home, and that's probably better than going with the Verbruggen Timber route. Then the week after, Verbruggen goes away to Brentford. And again, I would then be looking to sell Tarkowski. I think Collins is the most likely replacement for me. And so then again, it's a combination of Verbruggen with a fixture away at Brentford and Timber, or it's Collins and Raya. So how many attacking returns does Timber need over the next 4 matches for it to outweigh the DEFCON that other defender will likely get? And I think the Verbruggen to Raya, I think Timber will outscore Raya, but I think that the combination of Raya, Tarkowski, and then Raya, Collins is better for my team long term in terms of overall points scored, because I think it's very reasonable that we might get no clean sheets from Verbruggen until now, between now and 31. Like, they might keep 1 clean sheet in there, and if he only keeps 1, then it's not worth holding on to him. So the plan is to do Verbruggen to Raya with my second transfer. I will then likely roll in game week 26 and decide on whether I want to triple captain or not. And then in game week 27, those of you asking in the chat about Florian Wirtz and why I didn't buy him, the plan in game week 27 is to do Rice to Wirtz. That is my plan. I feel like it's been a while since I've been able to plan this far ahead. So Verbruggen to Raya is the plan today at the moment. I do like Timber. I do like Timber, and I think it is a risk going without him. So I quite like that transfer. But Verbruggen to Raya, then Roll, then Tarkowski to Collins and Rice to Wirtz in 27 is the plan. And then I can probably roll all the way up until the blank, apart from needing to sell Dorgu. So I'm hoping that I actually don't need loads of transfers, because Mbermo, Bruno, Wirtz, Dewsbury Hall / Anderson, Thiago, Haaland, Ekitike, with that defence once Colin comes in, actually sets myself up pretty well until we get to the blank. I might end up with a double up on the Fulham defence. I might end up with Cuenca as my second one, but we'll cover that when we get to it. So, a few questions. You're considering Haaland has never scored at Anfield and Szoboszlai is on set pieces. Should I start Szoboszlai or Haaland? I would start Haaland. I know that these records are there, but there was earlier on this season where we had the same, like his record against Bournemouth was dreadful and then he just banged like 2 goals against them. So I would still start Haaland. Start Thiago or Wilson. We did contemplating the bench boost this week. Rolfs, Anderson, Goodmanson, and Rodgers or Wilson. I would only play your bench boost there if you've used the wild card. While bench boosting with Rolfs away at Arsenal, I don't like. Anderson, Goodmanson, and probably Rodgers. I'd play Wilson over Rodgers. Is probably good enough, but I wouldn't do it if you haven't played your wild card, I think. That's how I feel like with a lot of bench boosts, unless they're perfect. If you had like Dubravka as your backup goalkeeper, then maybe I'd consider it more. But yeah, it sounds like you're probably starting Dubravka. So what else have we got? Need to set your team now off to work. Who to bench in defence, Cash or Rodon? I'd play Rodon over Cash. And I'd play Wilson over Rodgers. That does mean you're benching double Villa, but that is probably the way that I would go. Should I sell Van Dijk for Timber or Saliba, knowing no Arsenal defenders? I'd definitely go Timber, but I would take a hit to get Gabriel. I think Gabriel outscores them all, and Gabriel's the one you want long term. Find a way to get Gabriel, even if it's a -4. I wouldn't want to go into that double without Gabriel. He's going to be the most captain player. He's going to be the most owned player. He's going to be the most triple captain player. It's a massive risk that's not worth taking. Going without Gabriel. Would I do Raya and Munoz or Pickford and Timber? Like, this is another example that I just think Raya and Munoz is better than Pickford and Timber. If I'm honest, best long-term Tarkowski replacement this week, probably Anderson. Now, if you want to punt on Munoz, you can, but also Anderson probably sets you pretty well until the blank. Like, apart from City away on Wednesday, you can play Anderson in every other game, like Everton at home, Sunderland away, Spurs at home, West Ham at home, Forest away, Burnley at home. I really like having Anderson. I'm glad I didn't sell him a while ago when I was considering it. He just feels like a player that is just very good to have as your sort of 4th or 5th defender every week. So I really like Anderson. Would I do Dalot to Timber for a hit or just wait? I probably would get it done. Again, it saves yourself a transfer next week that you could use on something else. And I think Timber is better than Dalot this week. Thoughts on Ekitike to João Pedro in order to afford Verbruggen to Raya? I really don't want to do that. Could potentially downgrade Rodgers. Rodgers to Enzo or Rodgers to Wilson I'd prefer than selling Ekitike. I don't think we want to be doing Ekitike out at the moment. Who to bench? Ekitike, Anderson or Thiago? Probably Thiago, yeah. Bruno is number 1 captain over João Pedro. I'd start probably Rodgers over Elliot Anderson, and Pickford and Tarkowski in defence over Bruggen, Wilson, Bruno G. Bruno G will probably start, although it's not guaranteed. Not guaranteed. Who to bench? Yeah, so Ekitike out is not a transfer I would advise doing, because the same with Wirtz. From game week, I mean, even from this week, I actually think that City at home is better for him than Sunderland away and Forest away. But up until the blank, their fixtures are great, and he looks in such good form. I wouldn't want to be selling Liverpool players. People have asked me if I'd sell Van Dijk this week, and I also wouldn't be selling him. I also wouldn't be selling him either. Would I start Calafiori over Tarkowski? Probably. Calafiori feels like such a risk, though. I really wouldn't want to be going into the double with Calafiori. It just feels like he's going to start one of the two. The chances of him starting all of the next three feel quite low. Would I do Thiago to João Pedro or Keane to Chalobah? You've got Margay and Cash as your defenders. I think the defender move is a bigger upgrade, because with those of you with Michael Keane, because Mykolenko is back available, we are predicting that Keane won't start and that it will be Mykolenko at left back, because apparently that was the plan last week, but Mykolenko failed a late fitness test. So Keane then came in, apparently is the swap that was made. So we do think that it was meant to be Keane on the bench last week. So if you've got him, I would be a little bit cautious. I cannot do Dorgu to Timber, no. And actually, it doesn't make any difference to my team if I do Dorgu to Timber or Tarkowski to Timber, because if I did Dorgu to Timber, I'm then benching Tarkowski for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm selling him anyway. So it's not really the end of the world. But yeah, I'm gonna sell Verbruggen, I think. That's the current plan. I do like Timber, and the upside and the excitement of Timber is definitely there. But yeah, it's just not that simple, I don't think, for my team long term. Like, I just think the combination of keeping Tarkowski and then going to Collins is better. Like, if I own Tarkowski for the next two and he gets DEFCON in both of the next two, and Verbruggen doesn't keep a clean sheet in either of the next two, then Timber has to get an attacking return. Now, he may well do, but he has to get attacking return to even match it. Timber is goal threat, Raya doesn't. Absolutely. But goal threat on defenders has to be very high to outweigh a DEFCON defender over the same period of time. Because if Tarkowski hits DEFCON in 3 of the next... Like, let's say the Tarkowski place in my team hits DEFCON in... between now and the blank, hits it in 5 of the 7 game weeks. That's an extra 10 points. Timber has to get a goal and an assist in order for it to be worthwhile in the same 6 game weeks. So he might do it, but he also might not. And then also, if the defender keeps a clean sheet, whilst also then it upgrades Verbruggen, I just think the combination is better, despite the fact that I'm going to hate owning David Raya again. I just think it makes more sense for my team. Plus, then when later down the line, I don't necessarily have to sell him because I can just play Dubravka in the blank. Timber hat-trick coming. Yeah, it may well be, and then that'll be the final nail in the coffin. But yeah, it's possible, right? He has the haul potential. I think it was a couple of years ago that we had Ben White for the double. And I think he scored twice, or he had got a goal and an assist and a clean sheet. I feel like I had him for that double. I brought him in and he did really well. I need some of that. I remember how bad it was owning Raya, so you went for Timber even with the benching headaches. I don't blame you. Owning Raya is something I vowed never to do again, and here we are about 6 weeks further down the line, and I might be buying him back in place of the goalkeeper. You're not going to get that from Raya. It's true, but I might get it from Tarkowski, right? I might get it from... I might get it from Tarkowski. I might get it from Collins as well. Because the defender that I'm going to buy in place of Tarkowski is Collins. Now, he also has the potential to get a 15-pointer. Like he does, right? We've seen it before. If you look at the Brentford fixtures from when I plan on buying Collins, so I'm going to play Collins at home to Brighton, away at Burnley, at home to Wolves, away at Leeds, are going to be the 4 fixtures that I start Collins with. He has this haul in him. Like, we know what his attacking threat is like. And even here, he got 3 bonus at home to Spurs without even hitting DEFCON. There is upside in other defenders. That is the only concern with Timber. That yes, he has his own upside, but there is upside in other defenders that I could buy in that spot. So that's probably why I'm going to go with Raya. I completely understand that people hate the Raya pick. I hate the Raya pick myself. But the good thing is there's an endpoint, which is the wild card. One sec. Sorry, Holly and I want to go out for dinner over the next week because it's her birthday. And they've just got availability. People have cancelled. Cool. So, sorry, where were we? How do I start, Wilson or Krupi? I start Wilson over Krupi. There is a benching ranking in the top right, which does have a lot of those high-profile attackers in. So yeah, that's probably where I'd go. I probably would start Wilson. I quite like Wilson. I know that people are getting a bit frustrated with him, and actually, if he hadn't have scored that free kick against Brighton, people wouldn't be loving him as much. And I get that. Like, looking at his past returns, then you would be frustrated if it wasn't for that free kick. But I still think he's good. If you look, just like with Anderson, if you look at the upcoming fixtures for Fulham, like Everton at home is fine, City away, okay, and then Sunderland away. But from game week 28 onwards, I think Harry Wilson is one of the best midfielders in the entire game to own. Really? Yeah. I think he's one of the best midfielders in the game. So I wouldn't be selling Wilson. If you've got Enzo and not Wilson, that also works. Why Burmo over Cunha? Just for reliability of minutes. There is also a small chance that we see a return for Dorgu before the blank, which would just be a slight issue, yeah. When to play the bench boost? I would look to bench boost in 33, probably. I think 33 is going to be the most popular week. It's going to be the biggest double, so it's probably the best week for it. If you've got one free transfer, enough money in the bank, would I do Foden to Bruno? You already went for Cunha to Enzo. Would I do Foden to Bruno? You already went Cunha to Enzo. Yeah, I do Foden to Bruno, definitely. Foden's got about a 20% chance of starting in the predictions, so that is what I would do, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want him in my team. Foden, I think Cherky is predicted to start. He had like 100% start rate in the predictions, so yeah, sorry, I am trying to multitask. Let me just do this and then I will be all with you. Sorry. Why do you always have to verify everything? Sorry. Right, back to the chat. Back to the chat. Oh, it didn't even work. Oh, I'll just have to let it go. Anyway. Is Dorgu playing? No, Dorgu is not expected to play. No, he's still out. He's expected to be out for 10 weeks. Sorry. So it will be Tarkowski in this spot. It will be Tarkowski in that spot. Yeah, Dorgu is still out, yeah. Imagine Arsenal have 3-0 and a penalty and they put Raya on it. That would be the ideal. Or Raya saves a pen. I'm not sure Raya's ever saved a pen, has he? Meow, let's have a look at your questions. On one to bench, there's a lot of benching decisions this week. It is difficult because lots of people have a strong front eight. Part of me is quite happy to have Dewsbury Hall in there. One to bench, Wilson, Thiago, Bowen, Enzo, Haaland or Rice. I'd happily bench, for a lot of you, I'd happily bench Thiago this week. If I did an upgrade, he'd probably be the one that I would look to bench this week, I think. So yeah, I don't love his chances away at Newcastle, really. I think it's fine, but yeah. Sorry, I'm really distracted. I'm trying to... This place literally has never any space. And of course it would come up just as I'm streaming. And Holly's at work. Oh, and it's gone. Nightmare. Nightmare. So, right, let's just go back to the chat. Let's leave this now. Am I triple captaining in game week 26? The plan at the moment is not to. I really am undecided on it. Gabriel with the 2 fixtures would be the only one I'd consider. I just hate the idea of triple captaining a defender. Do I think it's a bad choice? No. Do I think that Gabriel is a good pick? Yes. But do I ever like the idea of triple captaining a defender when I'm also going to have Raya? Like, I just don't really like it. So at the moment it's a no, but I'm definitely not ruling out. I'd probably say I'm 60-40 against. Would I start Mane over Van de Ven? Yes, I would. Yeah, I would. Is Cherky a good hold? I think he's a fine hold. I think there are lots of midfielders that we want at the moment, which makes anyone who's not nailed or performing really well quite a difficult hold. But I think Cherky is fine, I think. I think Cherky is fine. Start Thiago or Anderson. I would play Anderson over Thiago, yeah. I'd play Anderson. Again, I don't love his chances this weekend. I think Newcastle are much better at home. They've got Bruno Guimaraes back, so it is just much better for Newcastle when they're at home. I don't love his chances, and they're without Kevin Schade as well. Start one of Dubravka or Rolfs. I'd play Dubravka. I think Dubravka's all right this week. There is a benching ranking in the top right for goalkeepers as well. Can you tell me more on why I'd go Hill over Senesi? Absolutely. So the main thing is the price. Senesi is still 4.8. He might have gone up to 4.9 now. And Hill is 3.9. Hill has hit DEFCON in 5 of the last 6 matches that he's played. I think that's the same as the number that Senesi has also hit. Senesi's slightly better for like bonus. He's slightly better for goal threat. But I don't think that million you're paying is worth it, if I'm honest. So that's the reason, and that's what would put me off. So I think Senesi is fine. And if you've got him, I don't think it's a huge issue. But I don't think I would be... Yeah, I don't think I'd be going for Senesi now. Hill just seems like the best cheap option. And if you're looking to buy a Rodon or... the only one that if you've got money that I would go with over him is Anderson probably. Or Cuenca if you want to take the slight gamble. It's a slight gamble. Do I play Pokemon? I used to play Pokemon Go. I don't play any Pokemon anymore. Will I play my first chip? Maybe next week, the triple captain. If not, it'll be a game week 32 wildcard will be the next time. Sell Saka, do I go Bruno Fernandes or Rice for 3 Arsenal? I'd go Bruno, but I would want both. As long as you can get to triple Arsenal another way, which you probably can even if you're doing Saka down because you're freeing up a bit of money. But, yeah. Yeah. I would go Bruno Fernandes. I think he's the only mid I'd buy over Rice this week. But if you can't get to triple Arsenal next week, then it has to be Rice. So that's quite close. But it depends if you can get to triple Arsenal next week as well. Is Rice being too overlooked? I think the recent returns being a little bit less than what people would have wanted does make it quite difficult for people to buy him. So I think he's being slightly overlooked, yes. Do I think he's a really bad option? No. Do I think he's a great option? Also no. Like, he has a 17-pointer in him, right? Like we saw a few weeks ago. He has the ability to do that. But he also has the ability to score 2 points every week and Arsenal to keep clean sheets and then it just to go badly wrong for you every week. So I find the triple Arsenal very difficult. I do think if I had Saka, I would just be going to Rice if you don't own him already. I don't think there's enough in it to use the 2 transfers unless the 2 transfers are to get Gabriel. If it's not to get Gabriel, then I think I would just go Rice. To be honest, if it was Timber, then maybe, because I do like his attacking threat. But if it's for Raya, then I definitely wouldn't. Oh, why is everything in this life so complicated? Why does everything need... Sorry, this is really bad. I appreciate that. Sorry. I will be 2 seconds. Literally 2 seconds. Cool. Sorry, we're back and I am fully locked in. Is Evanilson worth starting over Wilson? No, I'd play Wilson over Evanilson, I think. I just like Wilson as a pick. Will Reece James play? He's not in the Chelsea... I think he is in the Chelsea predicted lineup, actually. I think he is, yeah. So I probably would start Reece James if you've got him, unless you've got a really good other option, but I probably would start Reece. I don't think I'd want him, because I imagine he only plays one of the next 2. But yeah, I probably would start him. Bench 1, Watkins, Krupi, or Anderson. I'd probably bench Krupi. Watkins I'd definitely play. Anderson I would definitely play. João Pedro or Bruno captain. Bruno is top of my ranking. I do like João Pedro. I don't think that Wolves is that bad a defence. Their numbers have been pretty good recently, but then like Jose Sar's not been saving enough. That's the issue they've had. But yeah. Would I still buy Rice if you were chasing? Probably. I would consider punting on Trossard. Like, I don't think he's a bad punt. The issue you've got with the Arsenal attackers is Saka might be back for the second game. And if he's back, it then just causes chaos again. But I think Trossard is the most nailed outside of Saka when he's back. So Trossard would be the one I'd look to punt on if I wasn't going with Rice. Start João Pedro or Krupi Jr. I'd play João Pedro 100% over Krupi, definitely. Bench boost, Dubravka, O'Reilly, Krupi and Rodon. Not with O'Reilly away at Liverpool, definitely not. Yeah, bench boost as well. I probably wouldn't consider the bench boost that much unless you've already played the wild card or unless it's perfect. Unless it's perfect. And for some of you, it might be. Like, Ross is playing his bench boost this week, and I would say Ross's is good enough because he hasn't wildcarded yet. He needs to have a really perfect bench boost. This week, Vert or Rodgers for Saka. I'd buy Verts over Rodgers, I think. Am I buying Timber? No, the plan is to buy Raya. The plan is to buy Raya for Verbruggen and keep Tarkowski starting, I think. Let's just hope that Everton can find some of that away form. Gyökeres or Jesus. That's the other thing. The Arsenal striker spot, I definitely wouldn't be buying into. Yeah, definitely wouldn't buy. Too much rotation with Havertz, Odegaard, Gyökeres, Jesus in those sort of attacking positions. So wouldn't be doing that either. Hill versus Aston Villa or DCL versus Forest. 100% it would be DCL. Again, I think because he hasn't got any returns recently, people will be slightly put off by him. But I still think DCL is a good pick. And the fixture is pretty good. So, yeah. Start Minter or Margay. I would play... I mean, I'd sell either. I'd probably play Minter, but I don't think he's going to start. But I probably would play him. I'd probably transfer him out, is probably what I would do. I wouldn't want to play either. Bench 1, Thiago, DCL or Rodgers. I think that is answered, and I would bench Thiago out of them. I'm just not that optimistic about his returns recently and his performances away from home. Do I think Timber starts all of the next 3 games? Probably. But I do think there is a slight risk of it. I think it's probably 85% he starts all of the next 3. Yeah. I think he probably does. I think Sunderland at home is the one with the biggest risk, if I'm honest, because he's not going to play the cup game in between the 2 double games. So I fully expect him to play both in the double. But yeah, it's just how he starts against Sunderland or not. This is the one with the biggest out. Like, some Arsenal fans think that there needs to just be a bit of rest for some of those players. And the fact that Arteta came out and said so clearly, yeah, he's fine, makes me slightly nervous of it. So I think Timber starts and I wouldn't have an issue buying him. But I think there comes with a very small risk, a bigger risk than there normally is with him. Would I start Malik Chow or Rodon? I probably would go Rodon, Semenyo to Mbermo. I don't think you need to do that. I don't think you need to move around those midfielders too much, if I'm honest. I probably would just keep what you've got. Start 2 of Krupi, Tarkowski, Dewsbury Hall, Chow and Richards. I definitely would bench Richards. I would definitely start Krupi. And then I would probably play Dewsbury Hall over Tarkowski. So probably Dewsbury Hall, Krupi if you can. If you need a defender, then bench Dewsbury Hall for Tarkowski. Rice over Foden, 100%. Yeah, Foden isn't predicted to start for City. Let me get the... where's the Man City lineup on Scout? Yeah, it doesn't have Foden in it. It does have Cherki and Semenyo, though, on the wings. Semenyo or Rice? This week, Semenyo, but I'd rather, of course, Rice I'd rather buy Rice if that's the question. Saliba, if you can't afford Timber or Raya. I don't really love the Saliba pick. He doesn't get DEFCON. His attacking threat's not there. He feels like a really low ceiling pick, as does Raya. But Raya's a goalkeeper, whereas Saliba's competing with other more explosive players. So that's the issue. That's the issue. Where does Semenyo go on the benching ranking? You can't see him. I don't think he's on the ranking. I would be pretty inclined to play Semenyo this week. Like looking at the ranking that I've got, he probably goes... I probably would play him over Anderson. Probably would play him over DCL. It's probably him or Rodgers. Igor Thiago for João Pedro. So I've seen a lot of people do that, and it's one of the most popular transfers for forwards this week. The issue with it is, yes, the next three are great, but from game week 27 onwards, I think you'll want Thiago back. Just like Collins becomes a really good pick for me in place of Tarkowski from 27, Thiago is the same. Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds are 5 great fixtures for attackers. So if you're selling Thiago for João Pedro, in 3 weeks' time, you're going to want to undo it. Now, he might outscore him enough over the next 3 that it is just worthwhile, the 2 extra transfers that you're costing yourself. But the fact that you want to go back to Thiago puts me off doing it. Now, if you've got 4 or 5 transfers, and some of my members that we were talking about this morning are in that position where they've got 4 or 5 transfers, then in that situation, then I'm more inclined to say, yeah, you know what, go ahead and do it, because you're going to have transfers in a couple of weeks to move it back. But if you're in my situation where you've only got 1 transfer, then I'm inclined to say that it's not worth it, because there are more important things for you to do with your team. Would I bench boost Dubravka, Krupi, Van Dijk, and Goodmanson? Dubravka, Krupi, Van Dijk, and Goodmanson. Probably not. Like, you've got Krupi, he doesn't play 90. You've got Van Dijk against City. So no, I probably wouldn't. Don't know whether to do Kelleher to Raya or O'Reilly to Timber. I think I would do O'Reilly to Timber because, again, I think Kelleher is a decent long-term keeper. I don't feel the same about Verbruggen, right? If you look at this, you probably expect a couple of clean sheets in this run for Brentford. Whereas and you don't even need to play Kelleher this week because you just played Dubravka. Whereas Verbruggen, I think, keeps a max of 1 clean sheet between now and the blank. So, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be selling Kelleher. He's one of the best goalkeepers to buy, actually. Just buy him, bench him this week, and then play him from next week. Probably. Thank you all for joining, by the way. I apologise, the start of the season was a little bit all over the place with me being a bit distracted, but we are back until the deadline. If you haven't already, please do drop a like on the stream. There are 4,000 of you in who haven't liked the stream, so I'm sure that 1,000 of you could like the stream. Completely free, helps me out, helps get the stream pushed around on this Friday evening. So if you want to, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. As we get closer to the deadline, we will turn on subscriber only mode, where you will have to have been subscribed to use the chat if you haven't already. But yeah, if you could drop a like on the stream, not leave it for someone else to do, that would be great. Ekatike captain, no, I don't think so. I still think if City hadn't have conceded that first goal to Spurs, which was a little bit dubious, then I don't think we'd be considering it, because they did fall apart a little bit after that. But yeah, I don't think I'd be captaining. I think he's a good own go this week. Like, I'm quite happy to have him, but I don't think I'd be captaining him. Who to start between Morgan Rodgers and Harry Wilson? I think I would... It's really close. I'm pretty sure they're next to each other, but I would go with Wilson over Rodgers, I think. Just because he's on set pieces, which you don't get with Rodgers. Start one, the Senesi, Tarkowski or Van der Ven. I'd play Senesi because he's at home. Not at all tempted by Gabriel captain. A little bit, with Xhaka confirmed out. It does tempt me a little bit, yeah. But I just don't love the Gabriel captaincy. Like earlier on in the season where they were keeping clean sheets every week, I still wasn't really going to go there. And I don't feel the same now. And although Sunderland are a much better side at home than they are away from home, like they still were pretty good on Monday night. So, yeah. Yeah, I probably wouldn't. It's not really on my radar. Maybe he's a better vice captain than Haaland. Maybe I'd rather that than Haaland. But if Bruno missed out, like, it probably would end up on Haaland over Gabriel for me. I think he was just above for me in my captaincy ranking. I don't mind the Gabriel punt, but you've also got to realise that he probably won't get an attacking return in this game because Sunderland are pretty good from set pieces. So I don't think they'll let him have too much. Tarkowski or Chaël to start. I played probably Tarkowski over Chaël. Thiago out, Pedro in. Again, I would only do that transfer if you've got like 4 or 5 transfers, 3 at a minimum. If you don't, then I wouldn't be rushing to do it. Would I bench Anderson or Thiago? I'd play Anderson over Thiago, yeah. Hoping he gets DEFCON tonight. Hoping for something from him. But yeah, fingers crossed he at least gets DEFCON tonight. Start Senesi or Daniel Munoz. I'd probably play Munoz just because the explosivity's there. And I think Villa probably do score. If I was chasing, would I captain João Pedro? This is always one of the most difficult questions for me to answer. If I'm chasing, would I change my captaincy? Because at the end of the day, whether your player is 100% owned or 200% owned, you still want to captain the player that scores the most points because at the end of the day, the more points you have, the better you are. So if you don't think that João Pedro outscores Bruno, then I would still captain Bruno. But yeah, I don't mind the João Pedro. He was in my top 5. So I don't hate it, but I probably wouldn't. Yeah, Cuenca is an interesting one. He's probably where I'm going to go. So with the plan that I have for my team, I need a defender that has a good fixture in 29 and 31. And in those 2 weeks, Fulham have West Ham at home, Burnley at home. So I might end up with Cuenca in my team by game week 29. So I don't mind him. There are a couple of things to note. He played 45 here, got taken off after he got booked in the first half. He didn't play the full 90 here, but that is because they were chasing the game. He did have a lot of XA in there, and he scored a goal which then got ruled out for offside. I don't mind the Cuenca shout at a cheap price. I suppose the question is he more valuable than someone like James Hill? Depends what week you need to play him in a little bit. So between those two, maybe Cuenca's slightly better, but I also like Hill. Cuenca's not fully nailed. No, but he's starting to feel it. Like the more games we get, he's in the Fulham predicted lineup every week. Like we do just think he'll start every game. He's in the scout predicted lineup for Fulham again. Like Anderson, Cuenca. Yeah, like it could just flip and then he doesn't start. That's a risk you run with it. But yeah. I think he does feel pretty nailed now. So, a few super chats. You use your transfer to bring Rice and play him over Thiago. Yeah, if you're selling Saka to Rice, bench Thiago for Rice. Ekatike and Semenyo out for Pedro and Mbermo with 4 frees. I don't love selling Ekatike, but I do like João Pedro. If you've got 4 frees, I don't hate it. But I'm not really sure it's worth it, to be honest. If you've got another route back to a Liverpool player in to go Wirtz, then I don't hate it, but I'm not really sure I'd want to be selling Ekatike this week. Have I decided yet on Timber or Raya? Unless something happens between now and the deadline, I plan on doing Verbruggen to Raya. Verbruggen to Raya. Who would I buy, Timber or Raya, for a -4? If it means benching Anderson and Tarkowski, you have to buy one of them next week anyway. Like, if you're going to bench Anderson and Tarkowski, that's what I mean. I just don't think it's worth it. That's why I'm favouring going away from Timber. So let me show you what it means for my team, because there's quite a lot of people wondering similar stuff as well. So I've planned it out on FPL.team quite a lot over the past couple of days. So this is what it looks like if I go Raya, right? I play Tarkowski this week and I play Tarkowski next week. So Raya is going up against Timber and Tarkowski's going up against Verbruggen. And I would rather Tarkowski than Verbruggen. And of course I'd rather Timber. But as a combination, I think it's quite close. And then in game week 27, I sell Tarkowski and I buy Collins. So I've then got Collins going up against Timber, with Collins having Brighton, Burnley, Wolves, Leeds for the 4 games I'll play him in. And then I've got Raya, who's better than Verbruggen, who has an awful run of fixtures. JM, I do apologise. Let me look. Start 2 of Anderson, Munoz, Krupi, Thiago. Anderson and Munoz probably. Krupi is close to Munoz, but I would definitely play Anderson and I'd bench Thiago. So then in game week 28, I think I roll again. So I also buy Verts there. Game week 28, I probably roll. And then in game week 29, I need a transfer. I need a defender because Richards goes away to Spurs and Collins goes away to Bournemouth. Like, it's not dreadful. But I also need a defender in the blank. And that is when Cuenca might come into my team. Because if I'm looking for a defender that has a good fixture in 29 and 31, there isn't really anyone else that has a great fixture across both. Like, Lewis Hall has United at home, Sunderland at home. Like, I could go there, but I won't have loads of money. So a 4.3 million, like when I scroll down, like who am I buying down here? Fulham are the ones that match up best to it, right? Like Villa have Chelsea at home, West Ham at home, but I just think Fulham works best. And then in 29, I bench them both and play Richards and Collins. And then in 31, I don't have to make a transfer because I've got Collins, Cuenca, Anderson, Dubravka, and Burmo, Bruno, Anderson, Vert, Dewsbury Hall, Ekitike, Thiago. So that's the thinking. That is the thinking. Enzo and Malik Chaël to Timber and Dewsbury Hall, or Chaël Van Dijk to Timber Senesi. Selling Enzo to Dewsbury Hall to fund Timber is an absolute no-go. So, and it's a no-go next week as well. So definitely the other option. I'd rather sell Van Dijk than sell Enzo. Yeah, there is no world in which I'd sell Enzo if you owned him, either over this week or next week. If I want Raya, why not wait till next week when you have lots more info? I'm not sure we gain any info next week. I don't know what I'm going to gain over the next 24 hours, 48 hours that I don't know already. Apart from Timber being a worse pick. Like, that's the only thing I could learn. Like, if Timber scores against Sunderland, am I now going to buy him? Like, we know his attacking threat is there. If he suddenly scores in a game I don't own him, is that going to make me more likely to go and buy him just because I've missed the points? Probably not. If Verbruggen keeps a clean sheet, I still don't like their upcoming fixtures. I have thought about pushing the decision back, but I just don't think it makes any sense to do it. I think I just need to pick it and go with it. You've got 2 free transfers, Joyce, starting back 3 of Tarkowski, Gabriel, and Anderson. Your first sub is Dorgu. Would I do Dorgu to Hill? I don't know why, because if you've only got a back 3, you don't need to do Dorgu to Hill unless you need to save the money, but I probably would just leave it like that, to be honest. Yeah. Don't need to make transfers for bench cover, really. Bench boost with Anderson, Malik Chaël, and Dubravka. You also have Cherky, Timber, and Krupi in your team. Anderson, Chaël, and Dubravka. I mean, you're probably going to get what? Let's say 1 clean sheet, 2 blanks, and a def con. What's that? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're probably going to get 16 from that bench. So it's probably okay. Like, I probably would do that. I would definitely do it if you've already wildcarded. I wouldn't do it. I'd be less inclined to if you haven't wildcarded. So yeah, but that's pretty close. I probably would consider that one, yeah. Collins not in the predicted lineup. It was last updated. It hasn't been updated since the press conference, where basically he said there was a reason he didn't play. So yeah, I fully expect Collins to come back into the Brentford team. I mean, I've got a couple of weeks to decide it, right? If he doesn't play the next couple, then I won't buy him and I'll buy someone else. But he basically said he didn't play because he had an injury. He is my captain. He's the leader, etc. So would I bench boost this? Dubravka, Senesi, Krupi, Rodon? Probably not. I don't like that as much with Senesi and Krupi. I think that was quite a difficult game for them. Unless you've already played your wild card, then maybe. Timber for Michael Keane or João Pedro for Thiago. Currently, Thiago on your bench, but you play João Pedro and bench Rodgers. Michael Keane. I think Timber for Keane is a bigger upgrade because I don't think we expect to see a start for Keane in this game. I think Keane will be on the bench with Mikalenko coming back in. If wildcard 23, would I sell and die for Saar or anyone? I wouldn't sell for Saar because that just gives you a headache in the blank. So no. No. Random, but facial hair would suit you. Do you think I should grow a beard? Someone also mentioned that how I grew my moustache. I think they were taking the piss out of me, but yeah, I've never really been a facial hair person, and it takes about 6 months to grow. But I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. Bench one, Chalobah, Richards. I mean, Richards, I'm more than happy to bench him away at Brighton. They've not been great. And his DEFCON has dropped, which is slightly concerning. He's been moved to left centre-back, and as a result, his DEFCON has dropped. He's had 5. He got 17 against Sunderland, but he's had 5 and 7 since then. So I'm going to keep an eye on it because I do need to play him in Burnley at home, Wolves at home, Leeds at home. So, yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on it, but him losing DEFCON is not great. Chalobah is not it. I don't mind Chalobah. The issue with the Chelsea defence is we do leak goals. Like we saw that against West Ham. And I know that there have been moments where we've kept a few clean sheets, but defensive data-wise, we're all over the place. Like we're bottom half defence. So you're going to want them for 3 weeks and then you've got to take them out again. So that's 2 transfers you're using or an extra transfer because instead of just going to Collins, you're going to Chalobah, then Collins. So that's 1 extra transfer you're using, which means that's 1 extra clean sheet they've got to keep. So they've got to keep a minimum of 2 out of the next 3 in order to keep a clean, in order for it to be worth it. And I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. I think if you've got one, I'd definitely keep them and play them in all of the next 3. But I wouldn't be buying a new Chelsea defender now based off what we saw against West Ham, if I'm honest. Tavernier to Enzo for a hit. Yeah, I mean, if it's upgrading your team, then yes, getting rid of Tavernier is probably a good idea. But it's a real shame the Tavernier pick because he was such a good option. He fit everything we needed him to. And then he went and got injured. So that's where we are. Anyway, it is 1 hour to go till the deadline. So we're just going to put it in subscribe only mode. You literally will have had to subscribe for 1 minute, or sorry, 1 second to start using the chat once again. There we go. If you haven't already as well, please drop a like. We are 100 likes away from 1,000. So if you could just drop, that would be great. Sorry, in your last super chat, you meant Timber for Tarkowski or João Pedro for Thiago and bench Rodgers. Then no, I wouldn't. I do. I mean, I'm not sure I'd be doing João Pedro to Thiago in order to bench Rodgers. It doesn't seem worth it. I'd rather go Timber, I think. I'd rather go Timber. I have no Chelsea players. Yeah, I know. That is probably the biggest concern with my team. No Chelsea. But the question is where do I go with it? Like, I'm not going to buy a defender. Like, I'm not. I don't have the route or the transfers to buy a defender. I could have gone Enzo over in Burmo. I could have done that. I could do Thiago to João Pedro, but then I've just got to have to do it back again. So is it worth 2 transfers to buy a Chelsea player? Maybe, but someone's scaring me saying that the deadline had passed. Deadline is in an hour. Don't scare me like that. We have 56 minutes until the deadline. Thoughts on Gabriel captain? I don't hate it. I still don't trust the defensive captains enough. And I don't think his goal threat is that high against Sunderland. So I don't think the upside is there as much. Would I play Haaland or Tarkowski? I would play Haaland, and there's no situation where I wouldn't play Haaland this week. I still would play him in every game. I expect him to start, and so I would want him in my team. If you're considering benching Haaland, I question whether you think he's worth the money and you should just take him on altogether and sell him. Who would I replace Thiago over? Why would I place Thiago over Dewsbury Hall but not Ndiaye, even though KD gets a better attacking positioning? Do you know Ndiaye has pens? Yeah, literally based off that, Callum, that Ndiaye has pens. He's a better pick than Dewsbury Hall. He's more creative on his own. I would rather have Ndiaye than Dewsbury Hall, I think. Yeah, no Chelsea is probably the biggest concern, but there's not much I can really do about it. Yeah, not much I can really do. Is it enough of a punt to just own Palmer, let alone captain him again? Yes, like Palmer is a huge differential. He's going to be massively lowly owned this week. Massively lowly owned. He's going to be really low owned this week. So yeah, he's a great differential. I don't think he's a bad captain. If I had him, I would still captain Bruno over him. Because I do agree that he's probably a great differential on his own. Yeah. You'd play Richard over Collins. I'd play Collins over Richards. Richards and Palace just look all over the place. So, yeah. Yeah, I'd play Collins over Richards, I think. Isn't Richards a better pick to start over than Anderson? I don't think so. I don't see how Richards is a... I mean, their clean sheet potential is really low. He's playing away from home. He's not getting DEFCON. Whereas Fulham are at home. He gets DEFCON a lot. Fixtures better. Yeah, I won't be starting Richards. Definitely not. Leeds clean sheet odds are higher than Everton and Newcastle. Should I start Bijol over Tarkowski and Chaël? You have Thiago. I definitely start him over Malik Chaël. Would I start him over Tarkowski? Has Bijol even been starting? Is he nailed? I feel like they've rotate between a back four, but maybe it's been him that's been playing. He's also flagged. Like, he hasn't started any of the last three. So there's no reason that he might not be on the bench. So I would just play Tarkowski. At least you know what you're going to get from him. Jonathan, let me take a look at your super chat. You've got... No, it says there isn't one. Just type it in the chat and I'll have a look. He was injured but seems back now. Yeah, but you don't know he definitely goes straight in, do you? Like, he could come off the bench. Potentially. I would play Tarkowski over him and not take that risk, I think. Is Bruno Fernandes a must? He's as close as must-have as there is, apart from maybe Gabriel at the moment. So I'd probably want to find a way to get Bruno. I mean, he's top in a lot of people's captaincy debates this week, so... Szoboszlai to Enzo on another 8.1 max or roll. I don't mind Szoboszlai to Enzo. I think Szoboszlai to Enzo is, a fine transfer. It looks like Szoboszlai is going to play right back for the next few games because Bradley's out, Frimpong's out, Gomez isn't ready. So for the next 2 games minimum, we're probably going to get Szoboszlai at right back, which makes his DEFCON slightly better, but it definitely reduces his appeal. I'd rather Enzo, yeah. Saka and Verbruggen to Mbeumo and Raya, no-brainer. I mean, that's my plan of transfers at the moment. Would I rather sell Chaël or Tarkowski? I'd rather sell Tarkowski because at least there are some fixtures further down the line that you could end up with Chaël being useful, whereas there's not many for Tarkowski. Szoboszlai right back's not good for FPL, but makes balance for the Liverpool team. Great. He's still on set pieces. He might get DEFCON. It's not the end of the world if you're a Szoboszlai owner, actually. Why does he have Dorgu in the lineup? Oh, just because I'll just get the auto sub. I'll just get anyone off my bench who I decide to bench for him. Yeah, basically. So I get Tarkowski off my bench. Would I do Guiu to João Pedro for a hit? If it improves your starting lineup, yes. If it gives you a benching headache, no. So, yeah, I like João Pedro. He's the best forward outside of Haaland at the moment. So yeah. I would want, if I had an obvious route to João Pedro, I'd be considering it more. I just want Thiago and Ekitike long term, and the more I plan my team, that once I get to game week 27, and I've just got Ekitike away at Forest, Thiago at home to Brighton, Thiago away at Burnley, Ekitike at home to West Ham, and then I've got Thiago against Bournemouth and Ekitike against Wolves, and then Ekitike against Spurs and Thiago against Wolves, and then Thiago against Leeds and Ekitike against Brighton. Like, yeah, it looks great. Looks great. Best cheap mid for next week, 6.9 or less. Enzo or Harry Wilson. Either of those. Probably Enzo if you can afford him, or you don't have him already. Keep a dilemma. Dubravka or Donnarumma. I'd start Dubravka, definitely. Like, in a heartbeat, I'd play Dubravka over Donnarumma. Yeah. Ahmad, his attacking returns are not reliable enough despite how good he's been recently. So no, he's not worth it over the others. What is the tool for forecasting? It is called Plan FPL, and there is a link in the description to it. You get, you can plan all you want ahead, but if you want predicted points for future game weeks to go with it, to help optimize your lineup, you need to have a Fantasy Football Scout membership, which you can also check out in the description as well, if you'd like. Is Ismail Assar being overlooked? I think he's a good pick. There's no guarantee that he's on penalties if Strand Larsen starts, although I do expect Sarr to keep them. It's just that he blanks in 31. So for a lot of people, are you going to buy Mbermo? Are you going to buy Enzo, Harry Wilson, Vert, or are you going to buy Sarr, who then blanks, and you're going to have to sell again? And once you start putting it like that, I think Sarr's a great short-term punt. And if you were on wildcard or free hit, in 31, then I'd consider it. But I don't think anyone should consider a free hit in 31. Really, no one should be doing it. There's not enough players that we own that are going to blank that you need to hold on to. Yeah. Free hit 34 and free hit 33 are so much better. You need to be planning to not play your free hit in 31 because 33 is going to be a double and 34 is going to be a blank. The same teams that double are then likely to blank the week after. So you're going to get like 10 teams doubling and the week after you're going to have them blanking. If you try and navigate that without a free hit, it's going to be near impossible because everyone is going to have, or everyone who uses their free hit there, will wildcard in 32. They will have 15 doublers, or at least sort of 12, 13 doublers in 33. And then in 34, as a result, they'll have 12 or 13 players who blank. So they will need a free hit. But if you don't, you can't maximize the doublers because you've also got to think about having players who play in the blank. So when it gets to it, if you start getting closer to 31 and you're thinking you don't have enough players, please try your best to not free hit that week. Just got here, is captaining Timber as a differential a bad idea? I don't love it, especially because there is a small risk that he doesn't start. Yeah, but like he's a risky pick, but the upside is there with his attacking threat, like definitely. Sorry, relax, don't scream. Sorry. So there's going to be this double and then there's going to be a blank and you want your free hit because if you don't have your free hit, then it will be really difficult to get lots of players for the double and then lots of players for the blank. Hopefully that helps. Play Wilson or Tarkowski this week. I'd play Wilson over Tarkowski. If I still had funds to do Dorgu to Timber, would I do it instead of Verbruggen to Raya? No, I don't. I think I would be doing Verbruggen to Raya even if I still had money. Do you think I should do all my videos like this? What is up, everyone? FPL Harry here. 2,000 likes is the aim, and subscribe if you're new around here. And today we're going to be starting off by having a look at the fixtures for the next 6 weeks. And as you can see, Bournemouth are right at the top with a great run. So, So, and that is all. Thank you all for watching. Anyway, back to it. How long am I keeping Dorgu? I'll probably sell him in game week 29. That is the plan. That is the plan. People don't. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Anyway, bench one: Chalobah, Richard, Senesi. Bench one. I'd bench Richards. Bench one: Anderson, Krupi, Evan Nielsen. I'd bench Krupi probably. And can I give you an order? So Evan Nielsen, Anderson, Krupi, and Chalobah, Senesi, Richards. Who's a priority sell? Dorgu, Bruno, G, or Giyu? It kind of depends who you're bringing in, but I would actually say that Bruno G is probably the best one to sell because they're a good replacement, but he's also probably the best out of them. So if you've got lots of money, then a Giyu upgrade is probably the best. Szoboszlai to Mbermo or Szoboszlai to Anderson and Giyu to João Pedro. 5 mids versus 3 strikers. Already got Haaland, Ekitike. So I quite like the João Pedro move because that will then get you Thiago further down the line as well. So, Nicky, I probably would go with the João Pedro route if it's for free. Where would Senesi fit in the benching order? I think Hill is in the benching order. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not. Did I put Hill in it? No, I did not. I'd probably play them over just under Tarkowski, probably. Timber. Is Tavernier to Anderson worth it or hold Tav until fit again? You're probably going to have to sell Tavernier. It depends if you need that replacement this week or not. Like Tavernier to Anderson is never going to be that exciting of a transfer. Play one of Harry Maguire, Hill, or Calafiori. I'd play Calafiori. If you've got Arsenal players, you kind of have to play them, I think. I think you have to play them. Play bench 2, Dallo, Anderson, Keane, and Chow. Anderson, probably Chow, and bench Dallo, Keane. Definitely would bench Keane. So for anyone who's joining now, or who's got Michael Keane, basically last week it came out that the plan was to play Mykolenko at left back and Keane to be on the bench. But then Mykolenko failed a late fitness test and they brought Keane in and put Branthwaite at left back, I believe, and Keane played centre back. But Mykolenko is back in training and back in the squad. So we then expect it to be that Keane drops out and Mykolenko goes in at left back. Would I start Tarkowski or Van Heck? I'd play Tarkowski over Van Heck. Tavernier to Enzo. Yeah, I quite like that. That's more exciting than doing Tavernier to Anderson, despite the fact that Anderson is a pretty good pick. Hopefully he gets more than 4 points tonight, but a 4-pointer I will take. It's basically like him getting an assist and a yellow card every week. So not the end of the world for my cheapest player every week. And he's on set pieces. Hopefully there's no... hopefully there is no start for... who is it? Hutchinson, who takes set pieces off him. Any updates on Haaland? No. I just think he starts. And I wouldn't be benching him and taking that risk if I was you. Unless you've got an incredible... But even then, I wouldn't be doing it. Yeah. Why Anderson over Tarkowski? Just trust Fulham at home more than I trust Everton, to be honest. Tarkowski's been quite frustrating. He's also been less good for DEFCON recently, whereas Anderson has been better. I know he didn't hit it against United and also got booked and conceded 3. But I would probably still go Anderson at home over Tarkowski. Yeah, of course. You've got 2 free transfers, Piyush. 3 million in the bank. You have Gabriel Raya. You want an Arsenal triple up options. Dorgu to Timber and Roll, or Dorgu to a cheap one and Lewis Miley to Rice. See, Dorgu to Hill and Miley to Rice is probably what I would do. That feels like the best thing for your squad long term. That feels like the best thing for your squad. Bench 1, Enzo, Calvert-Lewin or Rodgers. Oh, Calvert-Lewin versus Rodgers. I'd probably bench Calvert-Lewin just over Rodgers. Probably. Thiago to Pedro for a hit. Definitely wouldn't be doing it for a hit, because then if you want to do it back, it's 2 transfers that you're losing, and one of them's even a hit. I don't like that. No. Buy João Pedro or Ndai or João Pedro and Ndai or Mbeumo and Krupi. Yeah, definitely Mbeumo, Krupi, I think. I don't love the Ndai pick at the moment. He hasn't looked that great since he's come back. What to do with Evan Nielsen? I think he's a fine hold. I wouldn't be worried or put off by that. Yeah. Captaincy poll, we can definitely do, of course. Start poll. Game week 25 captaincy. Bruno, Haaland. I'm going to do Gabriel and other. Why so serial? Verbruggen, Van Dijk, Tarkowski, Gabriel, How to fix the midfield with 3 transfers. So you've got Tielemans, Tavernier, Anderson, Semenyo, and I don't know who your last midfielder is. I mean, Tavernier to... Can you do Tavernier to like Wirtz and Tielemans to... I'd just sell Tavernier and Tielemans to like Enzo and another midfielder, basically. Basically is probably where I'm at. Why is it recommended to bench Chalobah against Wolves? It isn't recommended. It isn't recommended, no. I would be playing him if you've got him. It depends who your other defenders are. As always, if anyone, we are getting closer to the deadline. Sorry, I just saw someone mention something in the chat. If you see anything on Twitter, like a rumor of anything that you'd like me to have a look at, then do just tag me in it and I will take a look and I can tell you whether I think it's reliable or not. But if you're putting it in the chat saying you're seeing things on Twitter and you don't tag me in it, then I will presume that you are making it up. Should we just avoid buying Palace to mitigate 31? We will have triple Arsenal. Yeah, I don't think Palace are worth it. The fixtures are okay. The fixtures are pretty good, but I don't think they're worth the risk of how they're playing at the moment, to be honest. Like, I don't think we go into any game. Expecting Palace to particularly win. Just that Pep said Haaland might not play. I know, but the Haaland thing doesn't mean, like, Pep says stuff all the time. Pep says something all the time. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, he might not start, but we can't do anything about it. The game is on Sunday. There is no way. Pep hasn't even decided the lineup yet. Given that they played on Wednesday, he was probably making a decision today or tomorrow about the lineup. Like, Pep doesn't even probably know. So there's no way that anyone on Twitter will also know. Yeah. -4, get in Raya or Timber. I mean, it depends what the transfer out is, right? Depends what keeper you're looking to sell. It's all about the combination. Of course, Timber is better than Raya completely. But is the combination of Raya and Tarkowski better than a Timber and a Verbruggen, for example? Bench Rice or for Calvert-Lewin. I probably would play Rice over DCL. Probably would play Rice, I think. Saka to Trossard for a hit or play Malik Chaël. I'd do Saka out. I'm not sure I'd buy Trossard, though. I'm not sure he's worth the slight headache of minutes that there's going to be when they play so many games. Semenyo to Rice or wait a week and roll. I think I'd play Rice over Semenyo this week. So I probably would just do it. If you know that Rice is the midfielder, the Arsenal player you want, I would just get it done. That goes with pretty much all of them. That if you want a certain Arsenal player, I would just get it done, I think. Do I think Haaland could be benched based on current form? I mean, I really don't believe that Haaland's going to be benched. There's so many people wondering about it in the chat. And it's probably enough for you to, if you're deliberating captaincy, that you could think about moving it off him. Not many of you are actually doing it anyway. But I just don't see a world where he gets benched. I just don't see it. I might be wrong. But yeah, you're exact same team as yours, but 0 free transfers and only 0.7 in the bank. What's the best? Suggest long term. If you want to take a hit to buy your Arsenal player, then you can. You'd probably have to do Tarkowski to yeah, you probably have to do Tarkowski to Timber then. Worth Wilson, Anderson to Mbermo. Probably not. 2 free transfers, both starting. I wouldn't want to sell Wilson now. I think the long-term fixtures are good, and I also probably wouldn't want to sell Anderson either. Would I do Anderson to Rice for a hit? No. Do I think Fofana will start? He'll probably only start one of the next 2. I would not be buying Fofana. I know he's nice and cheap, but yeah, I think he probably only starts one of Saturday, Tuesday. So it does come with a bit of a risk going with him. Evanilson or Rodgers to start. I would start Rodgers over Evanilson. Van Hecke or Hill and Semenyo or Evanilson. Semenyo and Hill, probably. You own Thiago. Should I play Chaël or Richards? I still would just play Chaël over. I'd rather Chaël than Richard than Thiago, to be honest. So I'd play Chaël despite him playing against the striker. Would I bench boost Dubravka, Twanzebe, Tarkowski and Cherki? Probably not. If you've already wildcarded, then maybe, but that's definitely not good enough to bench boost if you haven't wildcarded yet. Rodgers or Wilson? Probably just Wilson over Rodgers, but I do think it's pretty close. I'd want to start both. I wouldn't want to really bench them. When am I thinking of using the triple captain? So triple captain is a 26 question really, but we've only got a very quick turnaround to the deadline on Tuesday. So Gabriel triple captain is going to be something that I consider, because what's the realistic scenario for Gabriel without getting carried away? 1 clean sheet, probably, and maybe a DEFCON in one of the 2, which would give him 10 points, right? If I offered you 10 points for your triple captain, you probably would say, yeah, that's fine. Like, it's not the most exciting, like it's not the best, but 10 points is probably enough to say, yeah, you know what, that's fine. But it's also better to potentially wait if City get a double. Now, City are not guaranteed to get a double on their own. Like, they will likely double in 33, but that might be the week you want to bench boost. There might not be another great triple captaincy option. Now, there might be, but there also might not. And if that's the case, then you're trying to find a 10-pointer in a single game week. So at the moment, I'm 60-40 against the idea of playing a triple captain next week. It would be Gabriel over Rice, I think. Feel like I trust Gabriel in the Arsenal defence a bit more. Gabriel is set to be my captain next week for the double. Yeah. Timber for a hit or just start Goodmanson. I mean, if you want to go and get your triple Arsenal now, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't love the idea that it's a hit, but it also means that next week, if you want to do another transfer, you can, rather than it being a hit again, because you'll have to do the Timber transfer. This is your question for a -4. Would I do João Pedro to cover for Semenyo or Munoz for O'Reilly? So you don't have to play Mukiele if O'Reilly is benched. You want both. I'd rather do the Munoz move, I think, rather than sell Semenyo. Or rather than bench Semenyo even. Anderson or Casemiro. Probably, to be honest, probably Casemiro because he has more goal threat than Anderson and his DEFCON is pretty equal. Play Rodgers or Reece James. 100% Rodgers. Definitely Rodgers. At least you know that he's going to start. Reece James is very 50-50. I think he only starts one of the next two. And if he does have this slight knock that Chelsea are talking about, which ruled him out of the game on Tuesday, to not even be on the bench, then maybe they don't risk him against Wolves. So, yeah, definitely Rodgers. Definitely Rodgers. Bench 1, Tarkowski, Anderson, Chaël, and Wilson. Probably Chaël, I think. Particularly because, Luke, you probably have Thiago. You might not. But I think I'd probably still bench Chaël there. Prioritise Enzo for the next 3 or funds to get Timber. Triple Arsenal for the double is more important than Enzo. So, if you can get Enzo and another Arsenal somewhere else, then that's fine. But going to triple Arsenal is more important. Adam, playing Dorgu also to the point where I'm going to get my second sub. Because Dewsbury Hall can't sub on for Dorgu. So I get my second sub. Things you'll love to see. Bowen for a -4. No, I don't think I'd be... No. What do I think about James Hill? 3.9, probably the best sub 4 million defender in the game at the moment. Yes, I like it. Yeah. Dorgu's in my 11 just so that I get the auto sub from Tarkowski. You've got a bit of a headache. Would I start 2 of Wilson, DCL, or Munoz? Sorry, I can't even remember the question. Would I sell Tarkowski to Timber? That's one of the 2 transfers I'm considering this week, but I think I'm going to buy Raya instead. Have I decided if I'm buying Raya or not? I'm pretty sure I'm going to go Verbruggen to Raya just for Verbruggen to finally keep his clean sheet. But yeah, probably going Verbruggen to Raya. Sell Thiago to João Pedro only if you've got lots of transfers, or even if you've got lots of moves. If Tarkowski comes in for Dorgu anyway, why not just start him? So I just get that last minute extra bit of auto sub. Basically. It doesn't achieve anything. It's just a bit of fun. Keep Watkins until he's proven rotation risk. Probably. I'd keep Watkins and I'd play him this week. Unless you didn't own João Pedro. In which case, Watkins to João Pedro would probably be too tempting and I probably would do it, actually, if I'm honest. Timber or Raya. Timber is better than Raya, but it's all about combinations in this game. So I just think that Raya Tarkowski is better than Timber Verbruggen between now and wildcard. Who should you start, Wilson or Thiago? I definitely play Wilson over Thiago. I think if you've got one of these difficult benching decisions, I would play. I would happily bench Thiago. New subscriber, would I start Van Heck or Mane? Probably Van Heck. Yeah. I'm drinking Ribena for those asking. It was on offer. I have very weak squash, right? I literally put no squash in. I like it just enough so that it doesn't taste like water. Because unless water's really cold, I don't think it tastes very nice. I mean, I will drink it. Like, I don't care that much. But I like just enough squash to make it... I'm not a strong squash person. Buy Enzo or Wirtz? Probably Enzo. Pete Fighter, I hope you're doing well. We're not here to talk about Chelsea Arsenal. It's not allowed. Not allowed. No Chelsea Arsenal talk. To anyone who spotted in my video on Wednesday morning that I said that Arsenal drew with Chelsea because I turned the game off after 90 minutes because I was so convinced that we weren't going to score that I had to... Basically, my Wednesday morning video, I hadn't started until after that Chelsea game because if Chelsea won, then I would have had to have done it all over again. So I basically left it all, and I was like, oh, well, hopefully there's an early goal, right? Because then I would know whether I need to do a Chelsea winning video or an Arsenal winning video. And because there was no goal, I had to wait right until the end. And then it got to 90 minutes and I was like, well, we're not scoring. And I went to do my video and I turned it off in a rage. And yeah, and then Kai Havertz did score and we went out. But anyway, I'm over it. I promise I'm over it. Do I think Keane is going to start for Everton? Probably not. No, probably not. Thank you very much. Enjoy. I'm sure you're all over the streams this weekend as well. You have 0 Arsenal. You've hit 26 or buy Gabriel now and triple 26. I'd buy Gabriel as soon as you can. If you don't have any Arsenal, I'd be buying Gabriel as soon as possible. Yeah. Which duo? Raya, Collins, Kelleher, Timber. See, that's more difficult. In that case, it's probably Kelleher, Timber. But that's 2 transfers for me. So 60 million down the drain. We're not having any of that. Tarkowski to Munoz. I don't mind it. I don't think it's that exceptional. I don't think it's that essential. But yeah, would I rather Munoz for the next 3 than Tarkowski? Then yeah, probably. You have 2 transfers. In defence, you have Timber, Richards, Dalot, Anderson, Dorgu. In midfield, you have Bruno Semenyo, Anderson, Lafitte, and Saka. You have 3.5 in the bank. If you don't have Raya, then Saka to Rice and Dorgu to Gabriel. If you do have Raya, then Saka to Mbermo, Dorgu to Gabriel. I wouldn't want to go without Gabriel for the next couple. Would I start Dubravka or Sanchez? I'd play Sanchez. Timber missed training, but Arteta has said he's fine, so we just presume that he's fine. Yeah. We think he is fine. It's a little bit disconcerting with Arteta, though, because he normally says, oh, well, he's got training today, we'll see. But when he says, oh, he's fine, that normally means the opposite. But yeah, I'm sure Gabriel will be fine. Yeah, early kickoff captain, I know. Like, I've got 3 of my 4 midfielders done by tomorrow morning. Of course, Tarkowski's worse than Munoz. So, yes, I would rather Munoz, but Palace look all over the place. Palace are about to play midweeks with Europe, right? Like, they've got midweek football and all the other stuff. And he blanks in 31. So, yes, as much as doing one to the other might be beneficial short term, it's then a second transfer to get rid of Munoz, and Palace all over the place. And yeah. So as much as Munoz is better, it's about using your transfers effectively. Yeah, Walt, I had a look. I would go with Kelleher, Timber. Someone's saying the stream is laggy. I think it looks fine my end. So if it is lagging for you, then do just drop a refresh. Yeah, just refresh on the stream. You need a defender. How long have we got? 21 minutes. You need a new defender this week. Money's not a problem. Who would I go for? You've got Gabriel and Timber. If you've got Gabriel and Timber, best third Arsenal is probably Rice or Raya. Probably Rice or Raya, yeah. Is triple Arsenal essential? I don't think it definitely is, right? Because could Rice blank twice and then Vert score or Mbermo score? Absolutely, these things are possible. But if you get to the double and you don't have triple Arsenal, you will want to you want to have a triple up. You will want it. So it's not impossible that it doesn't work out to go with Rice, but I think I would want it. Free hit 26. I don't think so. I mean, because Wolves are also not worth. It's just not. Yeah, like Wolves are not worth free hitting for. So you're going to be free hitting for Arsenal when almost everyone's already got triple Arsenal. So, Thiago, would I start Chaël or Anderson? I'd start Anderson. I'm surprised that so many people are asking about benching Anderson this week. I'm really surprised. So many people are considering it. Anderson feels like just a pretty straightforward start for me. Above most defenders, I think, this week. Home fixture. Everton are not that great. Yeah. You can't get Rice without selling Rodgers or Ekitike. What do I think? Like, I would say, if Rodgers out is your only way to get Rice and to get triple Arsenal, then I would do it. Basically, I would do it. You don't like benching a pen taker in Thiago? Yeah. But when you've got like Enzo, you've got Wilson, all of these players playing really well at the moment. And they're now without Kevin Schade as well. I think I would. I think I'd happily bench him. I mean, not happily, but I would comfortably bench him over a lot of those others. Why would I not bench boost? Unfortunately, I'm not going to bench boost because I still own Dorgu and I own Richards, who I expect to get 1 point this week. So yeah. Bench one, Garner, Wilson, or Thiago. Probably Garner. Garner versus Thiago is quite close, but I'd probably bench Garner. Your top 100 playing risky on João Pedro captain. I think, unless you've got Palmer, he's probably the other highly owned player that I'd consider going for captaincy, is João Pedro. So I don't have a problem with that. Good. Congratulations on your very high rank. I hope it goes well for you. Although João Pedro's points will massively hurt my rank, so maybe not. But hope Chelsea win 4-0 with 4 Wolves' own goals. All assisted by Esteval. That's my hope for the Chelsea game. Or all assisted by Palmer, actually. If you've got Palmer, you can have those assists. How do I feel about Haaland this game week? Fine, I think he's going to start. I feel like there's a little bit of an overreaction to the Pep quotes on him and the fact that he didn't start midweek. Haaland obviously needs some minutes off. He obviously needs a rest. Him not playing midweek, plays this weekend, plays midweek, then has a week and a half off, and then has midweeks free because they're not in the Champions League. He's going to get some midweeks off now, and I expect we start to see Haaland score a few more goals again. Now, he's not a captain this week. He's also not a captain next week because it's the double. So there are worlds where you can look to take Haaland on, but I don't think it's worth it. You've used your wildcard and bench boost, so would I free hit 33? Or I'd triple captain 33, free hit 34 probably. Start Dubravka or Kelleher. I'd play Dubravka over Kelleher. Vert or Semenyo for Saka. I would go Verts over Semenyo for certain, especially given the blank. And I think the next sort of 6 fixtures for Liverpool look really good. So I like Verts. I almost went with Verts over Mbeumo. Which combination? Raya and Rodgers or Pickford and Rice? Probably Raya Rodgers. I think. Probably Raya and Rodgers. Because then you can keep Raya for the long term, whereas you'll want to sell Rice. So probably Raya and Rodgers, I think. Bench Wilson or Anderson or Thiago. Again, like I probably would play Wilson and Anderson, as in Forest Anderson over Thiago. It's quite close, but I probably would play that. I mean, all it takes is Thiago to get that one chance and like he scores it, and then it's better than most of the other players. But Newcastle at home are better. They've got Bruno G back. They've got Bruno G back. Then Brentford are without Schade as well. So, yeah, I think he's the one that I would probably look to bench. We are 15 minutes from the deadline. If you are in, 5,000 of you watching have not liked this stream. If you could, that would be very much appreciated. You should get Timber, play Dubravka, then sell Verbruggen for Kelleher later. It's just an extra transfer. Basically, it's just too many transfers further down the line, I think. Basically. And I really like Collins. So Tarkowski for 2 weeks and then Collins is the plan. Or Malik Chow. But yeah. Why have I got Krupi above Bowen for forwards to buy? I would rather buy Krupi than Bowen because I don't think Bowen's particularly worth the money. He's got a great fixture this week, but long term the fixtures are not great. So I think from a squad structure, value, where you spend your money type of view, then that's why he's above him. Would I do O'Reilly to Anderson of Fulham? Yeah. Again, like Anderson ticks a lot of boxes, so yes. Someone asking about Saliba. I don't love the Saliba pick. He's basically Raya, but taking up a defender spot. There's no defcon, there's no attacking threat, and he's slightly injury prone. Yeah. I don't love... I mean, if it's your only way to get triple Arsenal, then fine, buy Saliba, but he's not very exciting. You might get lucky and he might finally score his goal that he hasn't scored in ages, it feels like. But, yeah. Play 2, Rodon, Goodmanson, O'Reilly, Garner, Wilson. So Wilson 100% and probably Rodon. Estev or Richards. I'd play Estev over Richards. You have a really bad season. Zubimendi, good differential to try and... No. If you wanted a differential, it would be Trossard. I wouldn't chance Zubimendi, personally. I don't think... If I get Timber, it means benching Anderson. And that's the other issue. It's like buying Timber for a bad defender this week then means you've got this crazy benching headache, in which it doesn't fit particularly comfortably with me. Tarkowski to Timber or Verbruggen to Raya. Again, it's about combinations. So I'm going to sell Verbruggen to Raya. We've got 13 minutes to go to the deadline. Unless there's anything on Twitter that I see someone tag me in about any news on anything. Then I will have a look. But if not, that's the transfer I am looking to make this week. Cool. One and done. I need a player. Cool. So that will be... I just think it works better for my team further down the line, as boring as it is. As boring as it is. Tarkowski or Gay to Gabriel. I'd rather take out... To be honest, I'd rather take out Tarkowski, but it depends what it does for your team when the blank comes around, if selling Gay is better. But I'd rather sell Tarkowski as long as you don't need them this week. Saka out, but which Arsenal midfielder for the next? It's still got to be Rice. He's the one that comes with the least risk, so... yeah, got to be Rice. Start 2, Hill, Tarkowski, Cherky. I probably would bench Hill. I expect them to concede to Villa. Sell Lafie or Dewsbury Hall. I'd rather sell Enzo Lafie. Dewsbury Hall was really unlucky. He had 0.4 XG in that game last weekend. Was really unlucky not to get anything. Sell Semenyo for Mbermo. It's a bit sideways. I'm not sure I'd do that this week. I'd probably keep Semenyo for a few more weeks. Cheapest nailed Chelsea defender. The cheapest nailed Chelsea defender is Sanchez in goal. The second cheapest nailed defender is Chalobah. Because none of the others are nailed. And I know you'll be looking at Badiashile and Fofana and Tosin. These players are not nailed, and nor is Gusto. Gusto is maybe the closest, because it could be Reece, but no. No. I think Reece might not start Wolves and then will start Leeds, and Palmer won't, and you might get Enzo at 10 against Leeds. Yeah. Tarkowski has been poor. Yeah, he has. He's got 2 more weeks in my team. Fulham away and Bournemouth at home, and then he'll be moving on to Collins. That is the plan. Transfer frees up money for me to do Rice to Florian Wirtz as well. Would I start Kroupy or Dewsbury Hall? Kroupy over Dewsbury Hall, yeah. Best 5 million defender is probably Collins, although the next 2 are Newcastle, Arsenal, but after that, probably Collins. Or Senesi, or James Hill, or Anderson, if you need them sooner. Does Timber start? I think he probably will. You have no bench cover. You've got Stack, Guiu, and Dorgu. Worried about Timber starting. So Timber's going to be in the squad, right? Timber's going to get on the pitch, so I wouldn't take a hit to cover it. Like, if Timber doesn't start, he's almost certain to come on, I think. So, yeah. Would I buy Rodgers or Sarr? I'd rather buy Rodgers because I understand the Sarr has been good. And if he's on penalties, it looks better. But he's still going to blank in 31. And the short-term fixtures for Villa do look pretty good. So I'd rather Rodgers. Which two? Senesi, Chow, or Rodgers? I'd probably bench Chow. Play Senesi, Rodgers. But then they're playing against each other. So maybe you play Chow over Senesi. Start 2, Wilson, Thiago, Kroupy, and Alex Jimenez. So Wilson definitely. And then probably Kroupy over Jimenez. You've got 2 free transfers. If I sell Saka from Burmo, you can also do so Burmo and Timber for O'Reilly tonight, or just roll it out. If you can upgrade O'Reilly to Timber, I would. Yeah, it's an upgrade that I quite like. Is Rodgers worth selling from Burmo? Probably not. Like, I think the short-term fixtures for Villa are pretty good, so no. Would I sell Mark Gay to Chalobah? No. If I was buying a defender now, there would be no interest in buying a Chelsea defender, despite the fact the next 3 are good. In order for that to work out, to go there, then go somewhere else, they've got to keep a minimum of 2 clean sheets out of 3 for it just about to even break even. 1 clean sheet and it's not worth it. 3 clean sheets, of course it is, but I don't think anyone's expecting that. You're selling Donnarumma. You've got triple Arsenal. Any thoughts on who to free up money? I'd actually go with Kelleher. Play Dubravka this week and then play Kelleher from next week. If I was looking to buy a cheap goalkeeper, him or Petrovic, Kelleher or Petrovic is who I'd buy. You feel like you should get Pedro for Thiago? Thoughts? Again, it's a move that looks great for the next few games with a lot of the Chelsea transfers. But in game week 28, when the Chelsea fixtures get worse and the Brentford fixtures start to get really good again, you'll probably want to switch it back again. Yeah. So that's the only concern. Timber won't play both games in the double from an Arsenal fan. I actually think he will because there is so much spacing. There is a week between them and you've got Wigan at home in the cup in between them. So looks like Ben White will start that, which means it makes sense. This weekend at home to Sunderland is the biggest risk, I would say. -4 for Raya this week. Probably not. No. Who to captain? Gabriel, Haaland, or Mbermo. Haaland is just above Gabriel for me. I probably wouldn't captain Mbermo. Tijala in order. Anderson, Tarkowski, Garner. Anderson, and then Tarkowski. Then Garner. Right. What a transfer, hey? I've wasted these 5 transfers so much. I will say it again and again, and this is another example of it. But it is better for my team long term to do this than to buy Timber. Let's hope that Tarkowski can do something and that, yeah. Yeah. And that Verbruggen concedes a goal. Start Munoz or Chalobah? Probably Munoz. Probably. At least he's got the attacking threat. You just sold Thiago for João Pedro with 4 frees. I think in that position it's fine. Zubimendi or Anderson? I'd play Anderson. Would I start Hall or Anderson? I'd play Anderson over Lewis Hall. Start Rodgers or sell to Enzo. Keep Rodgers. Thoughts on Palace players, Pino and Sarr? I think Sarr's okay. I don't think it's particularly worth it. No, I don't see anything on any Leeds team news. No. Do I think benching Haaland is an option? I probably wouldn't do that. I probably wouldn't bench Haaland. Why is Raya better than Timber? Raya is not better than Timber. So again, just to explain my reasoning on this transfer. Raya is not better than Timber. Timber is better than Raya. But it's about combinations, right? Timber and Verbruggen, who is just so frustrating, versus Tarkowski and Raya, where Tarkowski is then going to become Collins for the Brentford run of fixtures. I just prefer. I prefer the other option because if Timber has to, over the next 7 game weeks, if Tarkowski and Collins get one more clean sheet than Verbruggen and they get 5 out of 7 weeks worth of DEFCON, that's an extra 4 points, an extra 14 points. So Timber, in order to override that with the DEFCON and the extra clean sheet that I get there, in order for Timber, he has to score twice and get an assist. Or okay, maybe just score twice, which I'm not sure is particularly. I mean, he's going to score now. He's going to score after I've said all of this. Like, it's absolutely written in the stars that we'll see Timber, goal Arsenal, and every year on Twitter. And it will just say Timber in like capital letters, and that'll be it. I'll be like, right, it's enough. Enough is enough. That's what I will say. Enough is enough. That's what I will say. If anyone sees anything on the Leeds Forest news, then please do tag me in it. Then please do tag me in it. Yeah. Seen a few things mentioned, but I haven't seen it anywhere. So why not Enzo captain? I think he might play deeper. If it was Kelleher, I would not do this move. No, because I like Kelleher long term. Yeah, is Verbruggen going to be benched again like last week? Very funny, very funny. Right, let's do that. Verbruggen to Raya, confirm. Bruno cap, and Haaland vice captain. Raya in. Tarkowski on the bench will sub in for Dorgu. Yeah. Would I sell Haaland for Ekitike? No, I wouldn't. Is there anything wrong with a bench boost this week? Just that it might be better further down the line. But if your bench looks strong, then I've got no issue with it. If you had more transfers, you'd go Timber. You just don't fancy the buying him, selling him, in, out. Yeah. That did cross my mind, but it also meant that because I've got Dorgu, it doesn't actually apply to me very much. But like, I might hold Dorgu, and if suddenly we get later down the line, because game week 31 is still not for like the end of March, right? We're still almost a month and a half. We're like 6 weeks or 7 weeks away from that. So small chance that he could be back, and then I don't have to use that transfer. Rice captain, not for me, no. His attacking returns are not predictable enough. Would I take a hit to get out Dubravka for Raya? You have Gabriel and Rice. Yeah, I don't mind it. Yeah. Like, if it improves your goalkeeper and it's your way to triple Arsenal, then yeah. No, I said 6 weeks or 7 weeks. If I had Kelleher, I would have gone Timber, yeah. If I had Kelleher, yeah. I just don't trust Verbruggen. I think he keeps 1 clean sheet between now and the blank. I think Arsenal keep 4, probably. So yeah. Enzo cap, probably not for me, no. Probably not. I think there are better options, although Enzo has been great recently. Would I bench boost Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, Anderson and Richards? Definitely not, no. Can I see goals in Man United Spurs? Fingers crossed, as I've got 2 of them. You took out Haaland for Ekitike. Would I say that's a smart move? I wouldn't really want to go without Haaland, but I do think Ekitike is a good option. So in the kindest way possible, I probably wouldn't have done it, but I don't think Ekatike is a bad buy. I also get the clean sheets if I take Timber, yes. But then I think that Tarkowski will outscore the Verbruggen route is my hope. And then Tarkowski to Collins is the plan. Game week 26, Arsenal plays twice. Yes, it's a double. So you want triple Arsenal for next week if you haven't got it already. Why not João Pedro captain over Bruno? I just like Bruno's consistency, his route to point. He's on penalties. Yeah. Bench 2, Gay, Senesi, Krupi, Wilson. I'd play Wilson and I'd play Krupi probably. That is going to be, we're into the final minute before the deadline. Please go and check your teams. Make sure everything is where it needs to be. My team is as so. Dorgu is starting as I will just get auto sub for Tarkowski second on my bench. They can't sub in Dewsbury Hall because they have to sub in a defender. Game week 25 team locked in. Go and check your teams. That will be all of the questions that we answer. You've got a few seconds left to lock everything in. What did I do? I did Saka plus Verbruggen to Raya plus Burmo. Good luck, everyone. There we go. Just post that. Yeah, if you are tuning in, if you're heading out now, please do drop a like before you go. We're only 150 likes away from 2,000. And if you're heading off, just drop a like before you leave. That would be very much appreciated. Locked in. Back to laying carpets is just the best place to be. It's just the best place to be. Yeah, it just fits my team best, I think. I understand that it's a bit boring, but I just think it fits my team best. Cool. What's the point starting Dorgu? You just get the auto sub for it's just a bit of fun. Let's do fantasy challenge now. Cool. There we go. It's fun. Exactly. So, what is the challenge? Double points for Brighton Palace players. Is that really it? Can I pick as many as I want? Or do I get one of each? Verbruggen's going in. Like, we all know how this works, right? You've been around here long enough. League codes will be up above me in just a moment if you want to... we all know how this works. Verbruggen in and captain. And then, to be honest, I'll probably go with Sarr. Oh, no, I'll go... Yeah. No, Sarr. And then Timber. Enzo. Oh, 3 of each team. Oh, is it up to 3 of each team? Okay. All right, hang on. Munoz. Who are we going up front? Welbeck. Which code gives you an error? You've got the Fantasy Challenge League and then you've got the Overall League. So Fantasy Challenge is this one and then the main code league is that big one. What have I got here? 2 of each. I'm going with... I'm going with this. How come I never went Enzo? He was just never the right one for me to buy at the time. Do I wish I had Enzo? Yes, absolutely I do. Thoughts on João Pedro versus Adama Traoré? I was at that game and it was absolute chaos. Honestly, it was absolute carnage. It was absolute carnage. Honestly. Honestly, absolute carnage. Cool. Is there anything there? How come thoughts on João Pedro? We did, or is it too late to join? It shouldn't be too late to join. Which one are you trying to join? Sorry, I know I've got the slow mode on 45 seconds. It's not very easy to have a conversation. Let me slow that. Let me speed that up. There you go. I've got to pick a couple of players who right, so actually this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go João Pedro up front. And then yeah, nice, Jack. I like those changes. Who did they say to put in? Costulas. What position? Oh, he's a midfielder, I think. And I'll go Van Heck. Double up on the Brighton defence because the clean sheet is so locked in now that I sold Verbruggen. Ex-Brighton players don't get double points. Wait, what? What am I missing? Ex-Brighton players don't get double points. Oh, like João Pedro. Fine. Yeah, but I'm going João Pedro because he's going to kill my rank if I don't go with him. Right, I think we're probably going to wrap it up there. It has been a long week and I need to go and start making some dinner. Thank you all very much for joining. Good luck this week. Enjoy Elliot Anderson getting DEFCON tonight, hopefully. Good start to the week and hopefully Man United win 6-0 and then the guy can start cutting his hair next weekend and that can all be over and we can get lots of points. Anyway, thank you all very much. This is how the team locked in. I will be back on Sunday. I'll probably be Monday morning team selection before a Tuesday complete guide because, of course, it is a Tuesday evening deadline. But we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all very much. And yeah, I will catch you all very soon.